Should Christians play video games? Now, if you search up Christianity and gaming on YouTube or on Google, you'll see people answer this question a lot. So today we're going to have our own opportunity to tackle this. But we're not going to be answering this question. I don't really think that this is a good question. When people answer questions like these, like this, they'll usually say time and importance. They'll say something along the lines of like video games can be good or they can be bad depending on how much time you put in. If it inhibits your time with God, for example, or if it takes up too much time in your life, video games are bad. If video games take a place of an idol in your life, if it's something that, takes control of your life, then it's not good. But otherwise, video games can be good. Now, I agree with these answers. I think these answers are good, and videos that I've watched that answer in this way, they give a pretty good argument for these. So why do I say that this is not a good question? These two answers are kind of too broad. You can really apply these two things, these two aspects, these two answers to any question out there. Like, how much time should I spend reading? How much time should I spend watching movies or playing sports? When it comes to video games specifically, I want to go deeper than surface level. And today we're going to change this question to be able to give us better answers. So we're going to go back and we're going to rephrase this question in a way where we can explore deeper. And so the first thing that we're going to do when we take a look at this question is we're going to notice that this question is incomplete. Should Christians play video games? To what? To grow? I wrote W weird. To grow? Should Christians play video games to grow in their faith? I think the answer is pretty obvious. The answer is no, right? Because if you say the answer is yes, then that means we as Christians today that have access to video games can grow deeper in our faith compared to people 2,000 years ago that lived in Jesus' time because of video games. That's pretty cap, right? So the answer here isn't to grow. And there's not a lot of words that we can put after these ellipses that would make a lot of sense, actually. So what I want to do is I want to take out the word should, and I'm going to write the word can. When I say can, I don't mean ability to or capacity to. So then why am I putting the word can? Well, after these ellipses, I'm going to write the words to glorify God. And you see that this is a lot better of a question. And so if you're new to your faith, you could substitute this word glorify with the word worship. When I stand before God giving accounts of my life, can we say to God, like, God, we did this for your glory? That's the question that we're going to answer. And you see, by changing a few words around, this becomes a lot deeper of a question. Now, before we answer this, I want to make one more adjustment to this question. And I'm going to take out the word play, and I'm going to put the word use. Now, why is that? Well, not everybody plays video games to play video games, if that makes sense. Some of us make video games. Some of us use video games as a tool to do something else. And we're going to explore this later on. But this is the full question that we're going to answer. Can Christians use video games to glorify God? And so I'm going to take this off the screen, and I'm going to put a word on the screen, okay? I'm going to put the word in purpose. Now, this is an important starting point when developing a theology of gaming, because I don't want this to just be an answer that exists in your mind. I don't want you to have an answer to why you play video games that doesn't impact your life. I want this to be a personal answer to each of you that's watching, whether live or, after this gets made into a video. So I'm talking about you, John, that goes to Hope Baptist Church in Pennsylvania. I want you to think about the purpose to why you play games, because this is really important. It's a good starting point, and it will help you develop a theology that's applicational to your life and something that's personal. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to list 2 different purposes that video games have had in my life. And after, I'm going to give some examples that could apply to your life. In high school, I got into Smash. I watched this documentary on YouTube, and I was like, whoa, that's really cool. There are cool storylines here. The game is fun. So I got into playing Melee. And in university, when Smash Ultimate came out, I ended up buying a Switch to play Smash. So I bought a Switch, I bought Smash Ultimate, and I started, grinding that game. I started getting really good. And so when somebody ran a tournament at my school, I ended up joining and I won. And I thought to myself, like, wow, this is really fun. It's really fun competing. It's really fun winning. And it's really fun getting to meet new people that I otherwise wouldn't meet. So what I did after that is I started running tournaments, bi-weekly tournaments. And what I realized is that when I would run these tournaments, I would see the same faces over and over. They would be the same people. And what I noticed is that if you're good at playing video games, if you're good at a particular game, people will respect you. I don't really know the reason for this, but people will pay attention to you. People will listen to you. People will want to hang around and play with you. And people will be more receptive to things that you say. And so what I noticed is that there's something deeper than just video games. There's a community that's being built. I tried making a hangout every Saturday morning, just doing lunch, getting to know each other outside of the game, and it was good. Video games, for me, the purpose was changed to something that I do that I enjoy for fun, into something that builds community. So that's one reason. Another reason right now, another different purpose that I play video games now, I don't really play Smash anymore, is I go to a church that a lot of nerdy and dorky people go to. I'm not saying that as an insult. I'm a nerdy, dorky person, and I love nerdy, dorky people. But a lot of people play video games. And what I noticed is we started a Minecraft server. And what I noticed is that Minecraft is a game that I can turn off my brain to when I play. So I can play Minecraft, I can go caving, I could turn my brain off, and I can use this time to talk to people. And what I noticed is that Minecraft opened up the doors to deep conversations. So I didn't really know a lot of people too well before playing Minecraft. But what I noticed is that because we had this game as a connection point, it really opened up the doors to get to know each other better. Whereas otherwise, if you were to ask like me and this other person, like, hey, do you want to sit in a room for 4 hours and just talk about life? Maybe I'd say no, maybe they'd say no. But now through Minecraft, we could spend hours together and just talk about life. And the purpose is a deep purpose. You know, it's not just playing to play, but it's playing to get to know each other better. And so these are two purposes in my life that I've used gaming. And so I'm going to write down the numbers 1 to 4. And I'm going to write some reasons that can apply to you. So number 1, I'm going to write rest. Number 2, I'm going to write sport. Number 3, I'm going to write a narrative or stories. And number 4, I'm going to write socializing. So for some of you guys, you might have different purposes to why you play. You might not play for rest all the time. For me, sometimes I play games to rest. Sometimes I play it for sport. Sometimes I play it for socializing. But one thing that I want you to notice here, if one thing applies to you, the way that you answer this question and the way that you view your theology of gaming will apply itself differently to your life. You know, for example, if you play video games to rest, well, are you actually playing video games that allow you to rest? Are you playing League of Legends ranked and you might have some like anger issues that the game causes you to be mad? You know, playing League of Legends for rest might not be a good idea. But if you play it for sport, it could be good. So these 4 different purposes, I would say covers a lot of motivations for different people. And I'd say if this is one of you, this is a starting point for you to develop a theology of gaming. Now, what's good about viewing gaming in this sense is that people have already studied all of these things. People have already studied a theology of rest. People have already studied a theology of sport. People have already studied a theology of narrative or stories, and people have already developed a theology or theological understanding of how we should socialize with each other. These things already exist. So whereas, you know, in our question before, should Christians play video games? It's kind of surface level, and there's not actually a lot of resources for Christians that want to develop their understanding of gaming in a Christian sense. These things already exist outside of gaming, and we can apply these to gaming, which is pretty cool. So over the next few months, I want to spend time looking at these 4 things and also some other aspects that would be cool with Christianity and gaming. But this is a good start. I'd say this is a really good start. So that's our segment for today. And to end off, I just want to say these two extra notes. The first one being, I would say by developing a Christian understanding of video games, I'd say I have the capacity to enjoy gaming more than the average person, more than most people actually. Because when I play video games, sometimes there's like an eternal purpose towards it or behind it. When I stand before God, I do believe that not all the times I've played video games, but there will be some times where I can stand before God and say, like, God, I've done this for your glory. And God will say, well done. So I want you all to get to this point in your lives as well. I want you guys to think of gaming as something that's not like permissible, as in like, oh, do I have permission to do this? But rather something that's sweet, something that you can do and enjoy and find purpose in. The second note I want to make is I believe that if you develop a theology of video games, you'll be able to grow in your faith in other ways and apply this to other aspects of your life. I'd say that one of the challenges that we as the church have in the West, so North America, like Canada and the States, is Christian things are Christian, like church, like praying, like reading our Bible. But things that aren't Christian are kind of difficult to place in our understanding of the gospel. Video games is one of them. So if you develop a mindset towards developing a Christian understanding towards gaming in these very niche areas, you'll be able to take these principles and apply it to anything else you do. So I honestly believe if you develop a theology of gaming, you'll be a better Christian because of it, if you're a gamer. And that's pretty cool. So hopefully today we've given an answer to, can Christians play video games to glorify God in a way that's not defensive, as in like, I'm defending this thing that I do, but rather something that is, aggressive towards like, this is something that I can use to glorify God. But yeah, that has been our segment today. Hope you all have enjoyed. And yeah, if you want to see how this develops, feel free to subscribe and stuff.